Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into round number 14 of the 2018 MotoOption Supercross Series, live here on SYS TV. My name is Kellen Brauer in booth, bringing you guys the action tonight from Minneapolis. We are inside of a replica of US Bank Stadium, which looks really good. Guys in the MXS EMF track crew did a fantastic job this week putting together the Minneapolis replica track for us to race on, and we are set to go for round 14 of the series. Headed back east tonight, so the East Coast 250 guys will be on hand again. We saw the West Coast 250 guys last time out at Seattle, but probably the biggest news of the night is the final round of the Triple Crown format. For those of you that are new to MotoOption Supercross or Supercross in general, the Triple Crown format is going to include 3 main events for the 250 and 450 class each. That will be following 2 last chance qualifiers. Should be at least 2 LCQs tonight to get into those main events, as 18 guys have already pre-qualified into the races. And 4 more are still needing to join those 18 riders to make 22 rider fields for the 3 main events. So we'll get those LCQs started in just a moment. But while we wait for that to get underway, go ahead and take you guys through qualifying times for tonight's Minneapolis Supercross, round number 14 of the MotoOption Supercross series. In the 450 class tonight, it is Jeremy Siebold on the number 19 ART Racecraft decals machine, who is your fastest qualifier at a 53.609. Right behind him, another Jeremy Smith of the TBR FAMMX Suzuki team. 53.6 as well, but a 53.648, so he is right there within that 10th. And then Alexis Leclerc, your current points leader, also on a 53.6, but a 53.671. So 3 riders at the top of the timesheets, all within the same 10th of a second. So we'll see a lot of close racing tonight, I'm sure, in that 450 class. Behind Leclerc, second in points, Kolten Mitchell was 4th fastest on a 54.2, and Russ Chapman was 5th fastest on a 54.2 as well. Actually tied Kolten Mitchell's time of a 54.250, so they both ended up with the 4th fastest time combined. But Chapman will get the 5th spot behind Kolten Mitchell. So that is the 450 class. Taking a quick glance at the 250 East qualifying times, and you will see your points leader, Jack Haley, on the boy, what team is he on? I forgot already. 56 flat was his time, though. 56.085, almost very close to, but not quite, almost 1 whole second faster than Edward Mora, who is your second fastest qualifier on a 56.938. So just about 9/10 of a second down, a little over 8/10 of a second behind. Craig Richards, 3rd fastest on a 57 flat. Matt Burkeen on a 57.2, and Noah Baker on a 57.5 rounds out your top 5 in qualifying. Just to give you an idea of where the 18th fastest qualifier was to get you into tonight's program straight up without having to go to the last chance qualifier, 18th in the 250 class was Ethan Parks. He ran a 59.2, and he was just able to squeak out James Ohashi, who ran a 59.3, but he was only less than 1/100th of a second off, so that's really close times. And then the 450 cutoff time tonight was Spencer Turley on a 55.9, so 53.6 to a 55.9 separates your top 18 qualifiers in the 450 class tonight. And it is a chaotic night of racing for the final round of the Triple Crown. Not sure what the holdup is at the moment. We should be getting those LCQs going underway any second now. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and have Spencer Turley take you on a little lap around this track as he comes down to the finish line here, and hopefully he doesn't crash. Up and over the finish line, double down the backside and into this bowl corner. There's a sand section that meets these guys. I'm sure this will get chewed up with the road settings tonight. Out of a 90 and into a Supercross triple, and then the first of 2 sets of whoops. That's pretty short. The second set after this U-turn is a little bit longer, but still not the longest set of whoops that we've seen this year. Turley blows the corner after the whoops. Then rejoins the start straight right here as he comes down. He's busting a little wheelie for us, so showing off. And then a tight first corner, 180 first corner, and then into the section these guys are going 2, 3, and then 3 all the way into the corner over here. At least that's what 450 guys are doing. Then they U-turn out of this and 3 out of the corner into the Supercross triple, which is the first on a normal lap, the second on a standard lap. And then this little split section that he's in right here, you could go to the left, which is the outside of the track, and step on off, or you could go inside, miss that little jump on the outside, and then table over single, double out. Both lines cause you to double out. Most guys going inside, tap on, off, triple double to the line here, but Turley's gonna come up a touch short of completing a whole lap for us. So I'm gonna go back to myself and show you guys that last little section right there. This is the first Supercross triple after the finish line jump, and then into the whoop section. And of course I would crash in the bull corner. Might as well take you guys on the full lap while I'm here. So 2 sets of whoops, and then this corner coming back onto the start straight has a few ruts on it, and then like I said, these guys are going usually about the mid of the corner, coming out of this and then doubling in, and messed up that. But then they triple to right here and then triple out into the corner. Then they swing around this and they're able to triple in here. I'm not going to do it because I'm trash. And then up to the Supercross triple. Then like I said, split lines here. You could go inside or outside. If you go inside, you just single over table and double into this corner. And like I said, most guys going inside right here and just tapping on off. And then tripling and doubling to the inside of the corner here before the finish line. And that's roughly a lap here at Minneapolis. It's a pretty standard track, not too much chaos going on, only a couple rhythm sections, and really only a couple different things that you can do with those rhythm sections. So we're not probably going to see any big far out lines tonight that these guys will be busting out. But yeah, that was roughly a lap here on Minneapolis. I'm going to pull onto the start straight and go back to the overhead camera. And I guess I'll answer some of your guys' questions in chat, because we are still, for some reason, waiting on... I don't know if we've gotten an update yet. Let me go back up here. Please wait while I'll do the scripts. So they grabbed UIDs on time by the looks of how much chat has gone by. And right now we are still in a bit of a holding pattern. Trying to read chat here real quick, sorry. Something about Chase being good. I didn't really see what was going on there, but anyway, I'm sure we'll get started soon enough. In chat, look at Twitch chat first. Cali Racer 439 or 438 asks how I'm doing. I'm doing great, thank you. No opening ceremonies tonight. And jumping over to YouTube. No questions in YouTube. Man, you guys are not helping me out tonight with the chat. If you have any questions or concerns for me, I'd be happy to answer them right now. Actually, we have just got a restart, so let's see if we are going into an LCQ or what exactly we're doing here. Not too sure. It looks like they were a little delayed with the scripts, so they might be doing just a test here. Although it is taking me a little while to load in. And indeed, it does look like we have a last chance qualifier on the line. Waiting on everybody to load in. Let me go back up and see what I missed. Gonna have to go through all these can't loads. And yep, LCQ 250s. That includes Brett Powers, Caden Speck, Neil Wells, Jack Gatlin, Alex Cunningham, David Wright, and Bradley Schmidt. In this one, I want to get caught up in chat so I don't miss something. And these guys will be going 4 minutes in a lap. Top 4 transfer to the main event. All others going to the cheap seats, which really isn't that many in this class. There are only 7 riders in this LCQ, so kind of unfortunately only 3 people going home a little less than thrilled tonight after this one. But 4 guys are probably on the hot seat here who believe they should be in and want to make it in. Alrighty, ladies and gentlefish, it is time for the 250 last chance qualifier, the first race of the night here at Minneapolis. 4 minutes plus a lap on the gate and ready to go. And we're going to see which of these 7 riders will stamp their ticket into tonight's Triple Crown main events. But it all starts right here, live on SYS TV. Let's drop the gate in Minneapolis. Good start, 292. He's going to try to close off the 151, and there's some contact, but it is David Wright who comes out with the early race lead. He grabs the whole shot out of the first corner, and little chaos coming into the second corner as Caden Speck gets stood up by Alex Cunningham. We got Jack Gatlin right there in the mix as well, and mostly clean through the first couple sections by the looks of it. Nobody getting too out of shape. Everybody seems to have kind of settled in here. Top 4 already kind of spread out a little bit as Cunningham sticks right in behind David Wright. Actually, Speck was looking down the inside, then checked up to go outside to clear the finish line jump, and Gatlin went down the inside, made the pass, and now they get together, but Bradley Schmidt went down behind them, and as he tries to get going, Brad Powers absolutely clobbers him, and Neil Wells is in the mix right there, so these two getting up 6th and 7th now, which means that Neil Wells is in the final transfer spot, but he's down again, so Speck goes back into the final transfer spot. These races are short, so all this chaos could mean a lot as Speck goes down again. Powers gets hung up in the corner, so Schmidt goes through into the 4 spot. Right now, Schmidt trying to hold these guys at bay as they go through the first couple corners. Speck and Wells right there, right in tow, trying to keep things close. Oh, Wells almost into the back of Speck. Back up front, David Wright clicking on to lap number 3. And before I get too deep, I don't have this on, so let me turn it on. We are just about 2 minutes into this 4 minute plus 1 lap race. Cunningham second, Gatlin over the line in third, and then Schmidt, he is in 4th, but he's got Caden Speck, 292, closing down. Halfway through the LCQ. It's time to start biting some fingernails for these guys. Oh, big launch for Schmidt, and Speck pulls alongside with a good scrub. He's going to end up on the outside. Let's see if he can square it up. Nice slide through the corner. But again, he will end up on the outside line, so Schmidt controls it through the corner. Oh, look at Speck down the inside. Shows him a wheel, gives him a small nudge, and takes that spot. Nice pass. So Schmidt gonna have to go back to the drawing board here and figure out a way around Speck. Meanwhile, Speck on the move forward wants to go after Gatlin here. Different lines being used through this back section, and Speck starting to close back up on Gatlin here for position. Couple mistakes though, and he's gonna lose a bit of ground. Keeps going wide here to get the drive for the finish line. So you can see the entry to the sand already getting a little chewed up. You'll also notice in the first corner there's actually a rut kind of digging out. So these guys in just a small races. Gatlin is down, as is Cunningham. So Speck goes through and Schmidt, and here comes Wells. He is going to go into 4th as Cunningham gets up alongside of him and gets into the back of him and goes down. So Powers and Gatlin, whew, they both go by. So now Powers is in 5th. Gatlin goes back to 6th. They are both right behind Neil Wells and Bradley Schmidt. So either of these two make a small mistake and they will lose that transfer spot. Powers under attack though. Gatlin wants to get around him. Up and over the Supercross triple. Gatlin's got an inside move. Let's see if Powers can get around the outside and hold the spot, and he does. Oh, but he's going to make a small bobble here. Let's see. Gatlin's going to go over both tables and double triple into the corner, and he will make the pass on Powers, but it's still not good enough to get him in. He's got to get around Neil Wells or Bradley Schmidt. White flag did not come out as David Wright, your race leader, beat the timing back to the line. Wells looking for an inside move on Schmidt. Almost gets into the back of him on the exit of the whoops here. Sounds like a rider is down, and it is Caden Speck on the ground. So Gatlin down the inside, puts him on the ground. They're both down, and here comes Powers. And so Gatlin goes into 4th, Powers moves into 5th, and suddenly this is your battle for the final transfer spot. White flag will be coming out next time by as Donut triples and doubles down the inside and gets the pass done. What does Gatlin have to answer with? He's going to try to go outside. Powers shuts the door. We got a battle for the final transfer spot as Powers cuts over and Gatlin gets into him, but Powers is hung up. And they're both getting up sideways as Caden Speck is trying to come through. Gatlin gets back on the track and gets a good drive, so he gets around Speck and goes for the triple, but he goes down, so Powers is in 4th and has to hold off Caden Speck. One more lap to go. And David Wright is, Caden Speck is in the final transfer spot as David Wright goes down with the lead. Neil Wells goes through. Powers is not going to get there, so Speck is in 4th. I misspoke there, not too sure what happened. I think we lost Bradley Schmidt somewhere in that mess. So it's actually Speck as Schmidt and Alex Cunningham get together in the background. These guys are still so close, it's anybody's race. One fall-off crash from either of these 3 or 4 riders up front, and they could be looking at themselves out of the racing tonight. Wells, Steady Eddie gets himself into the lead, and he looks like he is going to go through with the victory here, but you never know. Final corner, and he will. So Wells takes the victory. Wright, who seems to be lagging, is going to make it, as does Powers, and Speck going to the main. So Bradley Schmidt misses out. Alex Cunningham is not going through, and Jack Gatlin did not finish this race. So that was a very chaotic last chance qualifier. Limited amount of riders on the track, but they certainly provided an interesting race for us to watch, as it is Neil Wells, David Wright, Brett Powers, and Caden Speck that will transfer into tonight's Triple Crown main events in the 250 East Region class. Whew, what a way to start off the night here in Minneapolis, and we're only going one step further here with this 450 last chance qualifier, which actually should feature a full gate. 42 riders ended up qualifying here tonight, so runners 19 through 40 should end up on this LCQ gate, and only 4 of them are going to go through to the main events tonight. And judging by qualifying times and who is out, it looks like we have no shortage of some star power in this last chance qualifier for the 450 class. So this will definitely be an interesting one to keep an eye on. All right. And yep. Connect and connect. Had a timeout there, my bad. So these guys are going to head out for their warm-up lap. And like I said, no shortage of star power. Look at all the low-digit, 2-digit numbers on the gate here. So we got Dupuis, we got Haskell, we got Janis, Hubbard, Warden, Dickerson, Schuler, French, Simos, Fowler, Oakley. And that was only a couple of them. Jeremy Cohenauer actually won a Triple Crown main event at our last Triple Crown race in Atlanta, so he definitely would like to make it through tonight. But only 4 of these guys are going through, and we have got a full gate in this LCQ here at Minneapolis. Who's going to make it to the main, and who's going to be sitting in the stands? Let's find out right now. Really good jump from Cohenauer on the 30. And he gets down the inside, but down the inside of him, it was nearly Dupuis with the whole shot, but it is Cohenauer who officially crosses the line first. Dupuis will settle in right there in second, and then that is, inside move for Carlo, puts Dupuis on the ground. So Carlo moves into second, Eagland is now third, and Janis moves up to fourth, so holy Honda's up front. Cohenauer and Carlo, as both of them swing outside and triple on off the tables. Methinks that this is not how the top 4 will look at the end of this one. This is going to turn into some utter chaos real fast. Carlo giving Cohenauer some fits, though. Want to keep an eye on this battle for the lead, because if it goes south with them, it could cause a big pileup with how close so many guys are still. Carlo getting hung up on the inside a little bit. Looks like Eagland has Janice right behind him, and then maybe Simo's in 5th right there. So a couple different options being used in this first rhythm lane. Eagland using the preferred line to close right up onto Carlo, but Carlo able to swing wide and triple out of the corner. Hangs onto the spot. Now Eagland's going to maybe look inside here, and he will. Comes up alongside, but gets pitched high in the air, so Carlo hangs on. Again, Eagland looking inside. Is going to... Oh! Clip Carlo, and they are both down, but Eagland stays up. But he's trying to get back on the track safely, and he will get on right in front of Jacob Hubbard, who nearly went down at the end of that rhythm section. So resetting it, it is Kohenauer, Dickerson, Janice, and Eagland. So actually 4 MV Films guys in the transfer spots right now, but there's contact. Dickerson and Eagland get together. There goes Hubbard. Anybody else coming? Here comes 83 of Fowler, 96 of Carlo. Jumping over top of both of them will get into the final transfer spot for the time being. But now the dam has burst wide open. There are a lot of riders closing in behind these guys as Carlo goes down at the end of the whoops, causes a bit of a stack up as Dickerson had to swing around him. So Dickerson goes through, Eagland goes through, and Fowler all right here in the mix. Dickerson is in the final transfer spot, but still under heavy pressure from Eagland. Jack Fowler is close. Then Nathan Zawarski and Alex Carlo going side by side over the triple. We got Warden and French down here in the background, so that might be the last opportunity those guys had at getting in, as it is still quite close up here. Battle for the lead? No, actually Kohenauer was just getting around to Lapper. So Hubbard has moved to 2nd as Janice has gone down. He is going back to 3rd, but he's actually about to go back to 4th as Dickerson scoots on by. So Janice now on the bubble spot in 4th. And right behind his teammate. Now Hubbard actually getting back on the track from a crash. So Hubbard on the bubble. And another rider down. That is a lapped rider, though. So these guys are all in. Eagland wants to get in. And it would really help the MV Films guys if he did. It would be all MV Films guys. But Dickerson goes down, so... Swapping of the positions for the MV Films guys. Oh, contact in the background. That lapped rider got into Carlo, and Zawarski hung up on the back of Carlo, so he's down. Simos goes through, and Zoa Cross also goes through. So Carlo looks to be the only contender realistically at the moment to get to Dickerson for that final transfer spot. Or do I have that wrong? Dickerson is actually in 5th. I was incorrect. So Hubbard on the 778 Suzuki right here is in the final transfer spot, but Dickerson wants to get around him. Hubbard with the full send on the Supercross triple cases it hard and allows Dickerson to go through. Hubbard looking down the inside. Looked a tad egregious. Again, looking inside, trying to show Dickerson a wheel, maybe make him think about it. Still have 2 laps to go, about a lap and a half now actually, as Hubbard swung wide and almost got into Carlo, who looks like he might be getting a spot. Well, nearly had it sized up. White flag is now in the air for your race leader. Really, these guys just need to stay up. It is Kohenauer, Janice, Eagland, and Dickerson, all 4 MV Films riders, did not make it through into the racing, except their teammate Adam Holm. And instead, they are now fighting their way through in the LCQ. So Dickerson trying to hang on. We're keeping an eye on him here. If any of his teammates goes down, we'll also see that, as well as Eagland. Looks like he may have just been getting up. Carlo is still sitting there in the background, wants a shot at Dickerson. Oh, but he slides it down. May have cost him too much time doing that. Meanwhile, up front, Jeremy Kohenauer avoiding more downed riders is... Rode a very flawless race, and he's going to bring this thing home. So it is Jeremy Kohenauer, your winner here in the 450 LCQ at Minneapolis. Janice in 2nd, Eagland in 3rd, Dickerson right behind him in 4th, and it looks like it's going to be an LCQ sweep for the MV Films guys. 1 more straightaway to go, a lapped rider to get around. Dickerson jumping through around the outside, and that lapped rider almost takes out Eagland, but it is an MV Films sweep, 1 through 4. Carlo, Schuler, Cross, Simos, Hubbard and Zaworski still going at it back here. Warden, Ritzler, Baird, Doiron, French, Turner, Haskell, Oakley, Fowler, Dupuis, Dar, and Penwell all not going through to the main events behind that. And Kohlenauer does his best podium pose as he gets up on the top step of the podium. He'll be talking to nobody since we don't have a lovely pit reporter. But he is the LCQ winner, so shout out to Kohlenauer, getting it done. Go for the ultra zoom out. All right, so this is almost a complete race. They have to kick Penwell, and they just did. And cuts are in, and the top four stay the same. Now it is time to get racing, though. These LCQs are merely a starter program for the intense action we're about to see here tonight. 3 different main events for both the 250 and 450 classes, and at the end of it all, we're going to have points to give out based on the overall finishes. Each race does not count for points, but it does count for your overall finish on the evening. So if you go 22-1-1, you'll probably get 7th or so. But if you go 5-3-2, you could win the event and get 26 points without winning a main event, interestingly enough. We'll break it down a little bit further on as we get deeper into the night. Should have those lineups coming here in just a minute. I'm going to struggle bust my way around here for a first-person lap. Oh, I'm so terrible in first person. So much focus going in to do this lap. Oh my goodness. Interestingly enough, though, it seems like I'm getting around the track better than when I was doing my third-person lap, and as I say that, I crash. Alrighty. Any second now. Here we go. 250 East main event and 450 main event lineup on your screen there. And as I said, we are starting off with the 250 East main event first, which will go, I believe it's 6 minutes plus a lap. 6 minutes, 10 minutes, and 12 minutes are the times for the 250 races. 8 minutes, 12 minutes, and 15 minutes are the times for the 450 races. So we'll start off with basically a heat race for these 250 riders. And we should get that gate loaded up right about, well, now. All right. So the first race of 6 main events on the night. Getting lined up. 250 East main event number 1, 6 minutes plus 1 lap. We'll see all the heavy hitters as talked about in qualifying a little bit earlier on. Of course, Jack Haley again, once again, tops the timesheets. He comes into this event as your current points leader, and he is going to look to hang on to that points lead. Haley has a sizable gap right now over Edward Mora, who entered second in points on the night and also qualified second. Haley on 136 points to Mora's 97, and these guys have 4 more rounds to go, or 3 more rounds to go. They do 14, 15, and 17. So, yeah, 3 more rounds to go. All right, so we're just loading in here, taking a little bit longer than usual, but sometimes that happens when guys have 4K skins or something stupid. Ba-doop, boop, boop, ba-doop, boop, boop. All right, these guys on their parade lap. So getting a little scope of the track. These guys, well, most of them except the guys that were in the LCQ, haven't yet raced this track or ridden it with the road on yet. For those of you that are new to MotoOption Supercross, the track was just released an hour and a half ago to these people, and they got 1 hour to qualify on a non-erode based track. So they qualified without any erode. The track doesn't deform at all. They just race it or qualify on it completely standard, and whatever best laps they can run is what gets them into the show. They do that so that it's a fair playing field, because some servers might have better ruts or jumps that make it more doable to do big lines or something like that, depending on how the ruts develop. So they just leave it fair game, and then they turn on the erode for the night program. So like I said, 18 of these 22 riders haven't yet hit the track with the erode on tonight, and normally they get a heat race to kind of figure that stuff out before the main event, or at least a heat race in an LCQ. But in this case, they have zero knowledge. They're going in with a fresh face here, and they're about to go 6 minutes plus 1 lap with 21 of their nearest competitors on a track that looks like it has broken down a little bit more than probably expected in those first LCQs. All right, not sure what we're waiting on here. Someone's not in, and it sounds like there's 23 riders on the gate. Let me confirm that. Yeah, there are, because I'm P24 and Harry White is P23. No idea who should be in that isn't, but at least I can kind of take you through the field in the meantime. So we have maybe Harry White, Neil Wells, Matt Burkeen, Daniel Mills, Garrett Hollenbeck, Owen Hillman, your points leader Jack Haley, Jeremy Hinners, Jake Fisher, Devin Davis, Brett Powers, David Wright, Ethan Parks, Caden Speck, Tyler Lang, Noah Baker, Daniel Batchlett, Dylan Gatlin, James Ohashi, Dylan Copeland, Craig Richards, Edward Mora, and Ivan Medina are the 22 question mark riders lining up tonight, as there are 23, so one of those 23 riders I just named actually will not be racing tonight, or maybe more and they've just messed up scripts. I'm not too sure, but it sounds like they're trying to get it figured out. In the meantime, I'll have Medina take you on a probably very aggressive looking lap around this track. These 250F guys, they have to ride the absolute balls off the bikes to get them to go nearly as fast as the 450 guys can make it look. All right, so and looks like they're good to go, I guess. I'm not sure if they're not going to try to figure it out or what, but there is someone on the back row, and it looks like they're just leaving it. I'm trying to wait to see if they call a red flag in chat. It looks like they are not, and they are going to run with it. So let's just go racing here in Minneapolis. Main event number 1 in the 250s. Good start, Burkeen on the 8. He's going to close it off into turn 1. Haley's looking down the inside. He actually may have gotten the whole shot, but it is Burkeen who comes out with the early race lead. Haley settles in right behind him, and down the inside goes Hillman. He is going to move into third, and it appears that this is the race as Burkeen front flips the Supercross triple with Haley right in tow. No red flag in chat, so I'd imagine this is what we're doing. 23 riders on the gate, not sure why, but Burkeen was leading until that is Hillman getting landed on by Haley, and that is absolutely a disaster for Haley in these short races. He is going buried back in the field. Haley looked like he was going for the double on the outside of the corner, and Hillman cut across the inside to do the tap line. That leaves Burkeen relatively alone out front with Hinters trying to give chase. Edward Mora entering the night second in the points could be a good opportunity for him here to maybe sneak a main event victory in here. It won't count for points, but it does help his overall as he gets around Hinters, who slides out. If Mora can get a main event win here, try to win this whole event tonight, and Haley doesn't have a good turnaround ride after that early crash, could see something like a 7th or 8th place finish for Haley tonight. But it's still early talking. Haley is in 9th. Burkeen looks like he just wants to set sail out front. He is off to the races and letting all this stuff kick off behind him. As we saw Hinters slide out, but he is getting right back onto the rear tire of Harry White on the TM Factory Racing machine. Harry White looked like he was closing up on Mora just a touch and then actually started losing some ground. So now falling into the clutches of Hinters a little bit. Still right there though. A couple different lines being used in that corner behind Hinters. Noah Baker, Jake Fisher, and Tyler Lang disputing some positions here. Jake Fisher slides it down the inside of Lang, pushes him wide, and then goes into the tough blocks. So Lang able to regroup and get back by, but then he super cases that jump. Loses some time, as did Fisher. Then we got Batchelot, and here is Haley right now, I believe in 8th, but he's up and over the bars, and he is down. So it looks like Copeland goes through, Hillman just went through, and Haley, fortunately so far, has only lost 2 spots, and that is all he is going to lose. Wow, not very often, less than 3 minutes into a race, can you crash while in the middle of the pack and not lose more than 5 spots. So Haley's got to consider himself a little lucky there. This battle's still raging on up here, though. Jake Fisher, Daniel Batchelot, and Tyler Lang. Oh, and Fisher cases the triple. Lang trying to split him down the middle. Gets bumped into and almost gets into the back of Batchelot. Then that causes a bit of a hang-up in the background as Fisher has Copeland and Hillman both chasing him down. Move down the inside. Copeland. Nice little inside move on Fisher. So you can see these guys all trying to tuck to the inside and going roll, double, triple, double through that first section, whereas the 450 guys will try to go mid-corner and instead we'll go double, triple, triple. Hillman looking down the inside on Fisher. Fisher on the on-offs from the outside, able to hold that spot. Let's see if Hillman uses the on-offs here to his advantage. He does not. He actually goes down and loses a spot to Haley. These races are so short and fast that it's really tough to keep track of everything that's going on. But it is still Burkeen leading. Mora's still sitting in second, and Burkeen looks like he is a little bit on cruise control right now. He still has 2 minutes and a lap left to try to hold this thing off. See Brett Powers in the background there off the side of the track. Looks like he has called it a main event here for the first one. Sometimes that is the best case for some of these guys that get lapped early on. You just end up in an endless cycle of getting lapped over and over and over again. So it's really kind of a pain in the neck to deal with that, because very likely you'll get yourself caught in a situation where you might even take a race leader down as a lapper, unintentionally of course, but could get you suspended. So unlike real life racing where they say never quit attitude, sometimes in this game it is perfectly acceptable to not get in riders' way enough and get out of the way all the time. As Morris slips off the track, allows Harry White to go through, who is having a tremendous ride up to second now. But Mora back down the inside with an aggressive move as the rider was down. So White wisely checks up and squares back underneath. Hangs onto the spot. Mora another little pop with the front end there, losing the front end into the corner entry. Got to keep an ear out here for Jeremy Hinters behind him. Not too far back is the number 14 machine. Noah Baker is in 5th. But not really quite on this battle. Oh, Hinders is down, and Baker actually jumps over him and completely saved a gnarly crash. Not sure how he corralled that one together, but a nice save over the top of Hinders, who now has Jack Haley, your points leader, to deal with. So Haley continues his ascent, and I should really stop watching him because all 3 times I've had my eyes on Haley in this race, he has gone down. So Batchet will go through, Lang will go through, and it looks like Haley's going to get going right before Devin Davis gets there. And he will. And Lang actually went down, so Haley actually only lost a spot to Batchet. Meanwhile, up front, white flag is out. Matt Burkeen is still the race leader, and he is looking to win this first main event, wire to wire. No real pressure. Mora was a couple seconds back at one point, but Burkeen, very smooth, calculated rider. Knows when to take the risks. And right now, it seems like he has kind of settled it down on this last lap, just trying to avoid some of the chaos going on between the lappers that he goes through. Harry White back up to 2nd, so Mora must have gone down again. Mora getting a little kick in the whoops, getting another kick in the whoops. Oof. Corrals it together, then gets hung up in the corner, and there's lappers going through. This is not a lapper, though. That is Noah Baker that made the pass, and Mora back down the inside, tries to get it back. And now down the inside in this corner as, oh, T-bones him, and it costs Mora, who goes down. Hinders slides down around the outside of him, so that puts Baker right in front of Harry White, as Matt Burkeen is your winner in main event number 1 as he goes flying into the grandstands. This battle for 2nd is not over yet, though. Baker kind of gifted the spot, but he's just going to try to hang on as this lapper is getting in his way, and Harry White almost into the back of him. Baker hangs on for 2nd, White in 3rd, and Haley actually is going to get around Mora, but then he goes down with them, so Hinders goes through for 4th. Batchet and Davis goes through 5 and 6, and Haley is going to get up and hit Mora as they come up over the line, so Mora actually gets 9th, or I'm sorry, 8th. Haley gets 9th. They were going to be 4th and 5th. Instead, they come together and end up 8th and 9th. So Hillman ends up just inside of the top 10. Hollenbeck 11th. Fisher 12th. Copeland looks like he's got 13th under wraps. And Parks was the last rider on the lead lap here. And he will pick up 14th. 15th was Medina, Ohashi, Mills, Richards, Wells, Gatlin, Speck, and Wright. And Brett Powers DNF in this one, as he is probably about to get kicked here by sitting on the side of the track. What a chaotic end to that race, though, between all these guys. Hinders gifted 4th, and Batchet and Davis gifted 5th and 6th. Lane gifted 7th, all because Mora and Haley came together in the final corner, and Haley, instead of getting up and going up and over the finish line, decided to get up and come across and T-bone Mora, who he must have thought caused that incident to begin with. So cost them both another spot as Tyler Lang was able to go on through. And so we have a little bit of championship drama here. Haley and Mora getting into it. Update in chat. It appears Donut MX, the one and only Brett Powers, who is now apparently, oh no, he's made it, but his controller died. So not too many mechanical issues to contend with in MX Simulator. You don't have a bike failure per se, but Brett Powers' controller died. That caused him to DNF this main event. And interestingly enough, Hunter Root lost the 2016 MotoOption Supercross Series Championship by 4 points, thanks to missing the Toronto round of that season due to a Windows computer update. Untimely as it was, it caused him to miss UID grab, and lo and behold, Tyson Fresquez won that championship by 4 points over Hunter Root. So no bike failures, but computer failures are definitely a possibility in MotoOption Supercross. And they can be bad enough to cost you the series title. All right, now switching gears for just a moment, it is time for the 450 action here at Minneapolis. First main event coming up, 8 minutes, plus 1 lap on the docket for these guys. By Gas, I don't remember that about Robertson, honestly, but I could see that happening. I'm assuming that's Jarrett Gaskew in chat. He's saying Aaron Robertson had a trigger malfunction. I guess the trigger on his controller broke, so he literally didn't have brakes, or what was it? Didn't have, yeah, just his brakes, I guess, in one of the races a few years back. I could see that happening. Hip Hopper in chat wants to know if the EU race is tonight or if it is on a different night. The EU races are on Mondays, evening time in the European region, midday for the United States region. So that is unfortunately why we don't stream the EU series. It is at a very bad time in the day for us to be able to catch it. But here we go. On the gate for this one, it is time for the 450 main event number 1 here at Minneapolis. These guys going 8 minutes plus a lap, and it is time to go racing. All right, gate is down, land rush, and it is Holm into the first corner. Leclerc gets into the back of him and goes down with a plethora of other riders. Holm has been getting fantastic starts the last couple of weeks and comes out with the early race lead here. So he leads the field by a good margin as Klein comes through second, Turley right there in third, Janice is fourth, and then Leitzel almost into the back of Janice is in fifth. Mullins, Chapman, Smith, all mixed in here. Gebhardt is kind of keeping an eye on things early. You want to try to find our championship contenders. Here is Leclerc, and interestingly enough, Kolten Mitchell got just as bad of a start as Leclerc, so your two championship combatants, 1 and 2 in the championship. They're about 15th and 16th on the track right now, respectively. And your fastest qualifier is right behind them, Jeremy Seabolt. So all three of these guys getting mixed up together early on. And this is going to be fascinating to watch them work their way forward as riders continue to go down. That is Klein down right there. Leclerc cuts off Eagland, gets the spot there. Now he's going after Carlin. Swings wide, goes for the double in and gets it. And the 3-3 line, but not able to triple into the corners. Lots of riders down, including Leitzel and Dickerson, who are just getting up. And then around Leclerc. Oh, and Leclerc almost goes down. Now he is down. He gets hit by Klein. And Mitchell was able to squeak by in that mess. So we'll go back and update you on that in a moment as Holm continues to lead the race. Holm entered the evening, I believe, 4th in points still, but he is getting dangerously close to passing Mullins in the standings for 3rd. Mullins, of course, missed a round due to suspension earlier on in the season, so doesn't help his case. But actually, I'm incorrect. Jeremy Seabolt, with his victory last week, leapfrogged both Holm and Mullins in the standings to go to 3rd on 2:14, Mullins on 2:11, Holm on 2:09. So Holm is right in the thick of that battle for 3rd in the championship, and a main event victory here could really help him get some good points tonight. So Holm, then Turley. How about Turley up here? He's having a great ride. He's got Russ Chapman right behind him. Chapman looking inside. This is your battle for 2nd. Not sure if I don't have Turley's updated skin or what, but normally he's on a KX skin. I think, pretty sure he usually rides the KTM dyno, so that makes sense. Here's Chapman looking down the inside though, and puts Turley on the ground. So the Chapman-Turley feud continues. That goes back a few years ago, it seems. Started with Chapman taking Turley out a couple times. I haven't quite seen if Turley has been able to retaliate yet, but Chapman continues to take out Turley. Moves him up to 2nd, and he is setting sail after the race leader, Adam Holm, now. And man, he is getting there in a hurry. Chapman absolutely railing towards the front of the field right now. Oof, almost losing the rear end out of the final corner there. How about Mullins? Mullins is up to third, and he's bringing Walter Gebhardt with him. So we've got a couple of 250 West guys running up at the sharp end of the field here. Here's Jeremy Smith. Oh, Turley down again. And that was, well, that was Leitzel going through. How about Mitchell coming up behind him? And Leclerc is down once again off the outside edge of the track here. So I saw Carlin go through. Looks like Leclerc is going to get going right ahead of a group of riders, including Devin Ryan and Chase Blakely of the BPC team. I'm sorry, Ryan of Relaxed Attire and Blakely of BPC. Turley down again, so the problems continue for the 61, and now he ends up in the clutches of Alexis Leclerc, who's continuing to use that line right there, but not able to do the 3 line. Now he's looking inside on Turley, but thinks better of it. Ryan actually is kind of closing up on him here. Wow, look at Leclerc inside, able to pop up and onto the tabletop. Not many guys are able to do that, but Leclerc's very springy setup, able to make it work. Onto the back of Turley, you can see Carlin just in the distance there on the Honda. Right there, flashing through your screen. Well, looks like Leitzel was down too. So Leclerc gains another spot. Now he's looking inside on Turley, and he is going to get that spot as he puts Turley down in the, I mean, literally the exact same spot that Chapman had put Turley 2 laps prior is where he ends up. And now Carlin went off the track a little bit, and Leclerc almost into the back of him. Leclerc looking to go 3-3 down the inside. Shows the wheel to Carlin. Now they're catching up to Siebold, and right at the front of this train is Mitchell. So this is a close battle here, with 6th place being the front of it. Leclerc still trying to get that line from the inside. Ooh, Leclerc cases the triple on, loses some ground. Seems like Mitchell and Siebold have kind of tag teamed here and are working their way forward, but they're not going to have much time. We're already 2 minutes away from the end of this thing. Oh, Chapman down again as he was giving chase to Holm. And did he just disconnect? Russ Chapman out of 2nd place, disconnects, reconnects, and types in chat L. He is holding that L strong, my friends, as Gebhardt and Mullins get together. So Chapman in 2nd place has just rage quit the race. And that now moves Jeremy Smith to 2nd. Gebhardt and Mullins, after crashing together, are now 3rd and 4th. Siebold in 5th. Carlin 6th. Leitzel 7th. Mitchell 8th. And then this battle between championship contenders is 9th and 10th. And I just noticed Mitchell also doing that line from the inside, but he's actually riding along the wall of the outside single onto the table to do the line, whereas Leclerc cutting down and able to pop off of that small little roller that's there and get all the way up onto the tabletop. So here's Mitchell working on Leitzel now. Leitzel on the 45 there. Mitchell better driving the whoops, looking down the inside. Leitzel concedes and will also give the spot to Leclerc for the time being. So for what it's worth, Leclerc doing the best he can damage control after that early crash. Mitchell also ended up back there with him, but Leclerc has crashed twice more since that early fall. Ooh, a little short on that jump. You can see Leclerc still busting that line from the inside. Seems like the erode helps with that a little bit. It pushes out a lip, causes him to get a little bit more lift. Back up front. Battle for the lead. This is going to be coming down to the end, and Holm just made a mistake, so here comes Smith. Looking inside, pulls alongside, but Holm from the outside triples in and hangs on. Rider down in the background, couldn't quite see the number. But here's your battle for the race lead now. Adam Holm, and he's down, and Smith is into him. And Smith getting up is going to almost get taken out by a couple of lappers, and there goes Mullins through, and Holm is going to get up in third. So Smith to the race lead, and here comes the white flag. So main event number 1 is rounding out here in Minneapolis for the 450 guys, and it is between Jeremy Smith and Jesse Mullins, 2 of RF/North America's winningest riders of all time, battling it out at the front here. Actually looked it up the other day because I thought Smith had quite a few 450 wins, but I wasn't entirely sure. He is actually 3rd on the all-time 450s wins list with 13, which I definitely didn't think he had, but incredible. And he is looking to make it 14 tonight, but he's going to have to take 2 more steps beyond this one. He will pick up main event victory number 1, but he has 2 more to go as he brings it down here to the line, and the number 4 of Jeremy Smith is your winner here in 450 main event number 1. Oh, Mullins is down. I don't think it'll cost him a spot. Siebold is not going to get there, so Mullins and Siebold round out your podium. Gebhardt 4th, Carlin 5th, Holm back to 6th, and Leclerc got around Mitchell, and Mitchell's still battling with Leitzel, and that is chaotic. Oh, and then a rider. That is Tyler Schmidt trying to get up from a crash, and unfortunately collected there a little bit. So Leclerc ends up in 7th, matching his number. Leitzel's going to get 8th. And here comes Mitchell and Turley to the line. And Turley looking down the inside, but Mitchell hangs on for 9th. Turley 10th. Kohenauer out of the LCQ and into 11th. Blakely 12th. Sean Klein had a good start in this one, kind of blew it early, and he ends up 13th. Matthias Janis, last rider on the lead lap, interestingly enough. 14th place was the last rider on the lead lap in the 250 main event as well. He is over the line, and cuts are in. Doesn't look like anything really changed here. Yeah, nothing changed at all. So Jeremy Smith confirmed race number 1 winner here in Minneapolis. And that is part 1 of 3 complete. Act 1 of 3, if you will. Setting up an interesting night here. We already saw the title contenders in the 250 championship having a little bit of a disagreement there before the line. Edward Mora and Jack Haley getting together. We're about to see them here in main event number 2 for the 250 guys. But how about that 450 class? Leclerc having quite a few issues, more issues than we normally see him have, and that looked like a great opportunity for Kolten Mitchell to capitalize. But unfortunately, it seems like Mitchell's demise this season has been not being able to capitalize on those mistakes that Leclerc has had. And it might cost him the championship. 16 points down entering this one. Obviously, 4 rounds still to go in this season, including tonight. So 16 points isn't an insurmountable gap for Kolten Mitchell. But it definitely is looking like things are falling more Leclerc's way as we get deeper into the season. All right, so these 250F guys getting their parade lap in once again. This race going to go a touch longer. 10 minutes plus 1 lap set to go. Basically, each race that we hit the track with tonight just gradually goes up in time. So these guys all lined up and set to go. Take a look at Hinders. He got a good start last time. You can see Haley all the way down the inside trying to use that inside line to his advantage. But it is time. Main event number 2 in the 250 East region. Let's drop the gate. Burkeen again from the outside line. Gets into the corner first and will grab the whole shot. This time Haley has a much better start as he is in second. And he's going to try to go with Burkeen early. Actually, well, until they came together, it was a nice Tiger Designs 1, 3, 4, but Copeland and Mills collided in 3rd and 4th, so that pretty much separates the top 2 by quite a bit. Burkeen to a comfortable lead. Haley right here in 2nd. Different lines through that section, and gotta say, it looks like Burkeen's worked out a little bit better, able to gap Haley just a touch. Here's Neil Wells. Good start right now in 3rd. Batchelot, Copeland, Lang, Baker, Fisher, Hillman, Speck, Wright, and then Mora. So Mora, who had a much better start the first time around. We saw how that ended the last main event. Him and Haley coming together, battling for 4th. Ended up 8th and 9th at the end of it all. Now he is buried in the mid-pack while Haley is right at the sharp end of the field. And look at all these riders going to the first corner together. 6 or 7 riders all clumped in this first rhythm section. Still trying to sort out those positions on these first couple of laps. This main event is a touch longer than that first one, so they have more time to kind of sort it out as Baker gets a little out of shape. Oh, riders down. That was Wells and Fisher as well, so that caused a bit of a stack up that allowed Mora and some others to gain quite a few spots there. Up front, though, Burkeen continues to lead, but Haley hot on his heels. He's so hot on his heels that Matt Burkeen's shoes have literally turned red. I'm sorry, that was a terrible joke. But how about it? Two guys that are quite familiar with each other. They have been teammates in the past, I believe. And if they weren't teammates, I apologize, but I know that they've raced each other quite a few times, so at least counts for that. Burkeen opting to go inside and then table over single. Haley around the outside on off. Both kind of work out the same. Haley going for the 3-on from the outside and gets it, and he's going to have a great drive. Does he look inside here in the final corner? No, he does not. Oh, actually, now he does, but because Burkeen made a mistake. And Haley takes over the race lead on to lap number 4, and he is now at the sharp end of the field trying to make amends for that 9th in race number 1. And, of course, oh, he front flips trying to mimic Matt Burkeen and goes down. So even Haley, who is in the depths of a championship battle, knows how to have a little bit of fun out here in MotoOption Supercross. He's going to fall back to 5th, and his title combatant, Edward Mora, is actually going to move up to 3rd. Mora right there with Batchelot. So Mora actually able to capitalize so far on some other riders' misfortunes. Obviously, Haley going down helped him out the most. We talked about the championship differential entering tonight. Haley entering with a 39-point lead, I believe it is. So really quite a big gap for Mora to try to make up, but he's doing the best he can at the moment. Meanwhile, Haley closing back up onto Batchelot, and Lang made a mistake, so Mora got another spot, and all these guys got another spot, actually. Haley looking inside on Batchelot. These 250F guys have to swing wide to get the Supercross triple. Haley this time scrubs it down nicely. He's going to have an inside line in the whoops. Batchelot swings around the outside to hold on to the position, though. Haley looks like he's got another line down the inside here, lays it into the rut, and takes that position away from Batchelot. Contact in the background. I saw Medina hit the deck. So Burkeen looking sharp here tonight. 2 hole shots. So far he has, other than Haley leading that one lap that he front flipped and then crashed out, Burkeen has led every other lap of the race. Not quite halfway through this main event just yet, but we're approaching that moment. And he's second here now, and Burkeen is looking real comfortable here tonight in Minneapolis. Second for Mora. And we are actually about to have 1 and 2 in the championship coming together. I keep calling them championship combatants, but really, Haley has such a large lead in this short series that Mora needs a lot more than just beating Haley here in this race to potentially work his way into this title discussion. because right now it is all Jack Haley's to lose. I'll actually go on board with Haley to watch Mora in front of him here. Battle for second. You can see how this track is developing a little bit more. We haven't done too many onboards tonight. So you can see Burkeen coming the other way in the whoops, and then your battle for second right behind that. Oh, Mora mistake, and Haley ripped that corner. Another small mistake from Mora. You can see that rut in the first corner getting real dug out. We might get to plywood again tonight. Oh, Haley goes for the triple into the corner. I thought he was going to come up short. Salvages it. Double single to the triple. Mora's still right in front of Haley here. Let's see if he gets the on-offs clean. He does, and Mora makes a mistake, so Haley moves back through into second and follows it up with a 59 flat after running his 57. So Mora slips back to third. Tyler Lang having a great ride right now in fourth. Gets a bit of a kick right there. Bachelet holding down a solid top 5. Devin Davis having one of his better nights of his season. National number 15, so he had a really good season last year, and it has not gone his way so far this year, but tonight looking much better. Copeland behind Devin Davis. Looks like the whoops are starting to get chewed out a little bit more as guys are, instead of blitzing them, they're kind of jumping through them, jumping off those first couple ones at least. Harry White, Jake Fisher, Garrett Hollenbeck, Ivan Medina, Dylan Gatlin. Just kind of running through the field here real quick. See where everybody's at. David Wright gets passed by Craig Richards, Owen Hillman, Neil Wells, Daniel Mills. Going to get passed by Noah Baker. Baker having a much rougher second main event than the first time out. Ethan Parks. And these guys all have been put a lap down. Did I miss a change for the lead somewhere? I did. Jack Haley is now leading, so Burkeen coughed it up. Not too sure what happened there, but it seems to me Burkeen crashed by himself somewhere because the gaps make sense as such. He had about a 5-second lead, went down, now has about 5 seconds to make up. A fall-off crash is usually about 10 seconds long. Saw a question in chat just for a moment about Jack Haley asking if he's from Australia. No, he is not. In fact, I believe he currently lives in El Paso, Texas. He is an American citizen, born in the USA, but interestingly enough, when he started racing MX Simulator competitively, which I believe was back in 2013, he resided in New Delhi, India. That is because his parents, military family, were stationed there. Haley's a really nice dude, though. And even though his internet was absolute garbage when I used to race him, he was still always very thoughtful and apologized if there was incidents. Lang here, pretty much all alone right now. Dylan Copeland, Devin Davis, not many battles going on throughout the track right now, as Haley will not, well, I mean, he will clip the time before time expires. We have 14 seconds on the clock. Burkeen as it stands. Oh, Mora is in the Doblos bales. Let's see if he gets out of that clean. Yes, it looks like he wasn't actually too deep in them. So, but what I was about to say, though, is Burkeen is still sitting very nicely for the overall, which would count for 26 points this evening. The overall is basically like winning one normal main event, but you have to do it after these 3 main events. So if he wins the whole overall program, he will get those 26 main event points, and a first and a second as it stands really puts him in a good spot going into that 3rd main event. Haley, on the other hand, he had a 9th place finish the first time out, so this first will help him get back in contention, but that 9th really puts a damper in his possibility of winning tonight. He'll be at 10 points versus Burkeen's 3, which means he would have to beat Burkeen, and just Burkeen more. You know, there's other riders he would still have to beat by quite a bit, but Burkeen he would have to beat by more than 7 positions in that final race to beat Burkeen, but that still doesn't guarantee he would get the overall victory. Oh, laying down on the Supercross triple landing. So Mora goes through, and that is a lapped rider going through right there. Copeland would be the next in line. So Jack Haley makes amends for his 9th in race number 1. And Jack Haley wins main event number 2 here in Minneapolis. Burkeen picks up a 2nd, so he is on 1-2 scores. Almost a perfect night going for Burkeen so far. Mora finished 8th in the first main. He is looking at a lovely 3rd place finish here. Oh, laying up and over the bars, and this time it should cost him 4th. As here comes Copeland. Well, Lang actually, man, he might get going before Copeland gets there. He will. Oh my. I really thought Copeland was closer, but instead Lang holds on for 4th. Copeland ends up 5th. Batchlett will get 6th. Dave is kind of all alone here in 7th, and he will hang on there. Hollenbeck over the top of Fisher gets 8th. Fisher ends up 9th, and Richards the last rider on the lead lap in 10th. So this time around, the pace was a little bit higher. The race obviously a touch longer, so these guys lapped up to the 11th spot, whereas in the first race it was 14th. Baker, White, Medina, Parks, Mills, Speck, Gatlin, Hillman, Wells, Hinners, Wright, and Powers. So Powers is bringing us to the finish line here in this one, and cuts are in. And cuts don't change a thing. All right, halfway through our programming here tonight. Looks like we are modestly on schedule. I think we're about 10 minutes behind, I would say, what the normal schedule should look like tonight. But we are heading into main event number 2 for the 450 class. This one will go 12 minutes plus 1 lap. So again, continuing to up the amount of time each race that goes by. The last 250 main will also be 12 minutes and a lap. And the last 450 main, which will be coming up in, well, probably about 30 minutes, will be 15 minutes and a lap. I gotta say, MXS EMF track crew, they did a really stellar job building this stadium, making it look as good as it is this week. This track seems to have been racing quite well. A lot of work went into this one, and credit where credit is due. They did a great job this week, in my opinion. Some might disagree, but I think that it looks really pristine, and the track rides fairly well. All right, so these guys out there for the parade lap, and that race or that parade lap is now over. So 12 minutes plus a lap, and these guys are on the gate. Let's take a look at Leclerc. We saw him go down in the first race, and I am not going to be able to find him in time. There he is. Main event number 2, 450s from Minneapolis. Good jump for Leclerc. And he's going to get them to the first corner. Will he get the whole shot? Very close between him and Smith, but it is Leclerc who comes out with the lead. And this is where Leclerc can be dangerous. Get out front and get away from all the chaos that is ensuing behind him. And he's going to try to do it as quick as possible. Smith, who won the first main event, is going right there with him. Chapman also in the mix. Smith looks like a different animal this week, man. There's something about Jeremy Smith. When he is on, when he is feeling a track, he rides tremendously well, and he looks like he wants a piece of Leclerc out front. Leclerc normally possesses the speed to get away and get away quickly. He's very much got the McGrath element of him. Jeremy McGrath in his championship days would be able to pull out a lead first couple laps and cruise it home. That's kind of what Leclerc normally does, but so far Chapman and Smith are hanging right tough with him, and Leclerc makes a small bobble, still goes for the big line, and somehow pulls it off. But Smith going toe-to-toe with him here, staying right in line. Leclerc got the inside on the tabletop, off tabletop line, but really didn't gain that much time. Smith from the outside line really getting it so much cleaner, able to hold right in tight. And man, oh man, these two have been all over each other the first couple of laps. 2 laps in, and it's only been a minute and a half, so the pace is absolutely blistering out front right now. Chapman, who is normally pace-wise at least comparable to Leclerc, is starting to drop off these guys just a touch as Smith continues to keep things close. Leclerc now makes a big mistake, and he was not able to get the normal line, so here comes Smith down the inside. Change for the lead in Minneapolis. JS4 goes to the front. Leclerc triples and almost gets by him, and he scrubs down the Supercross triple looking inside, but Smith around the outside holds onto the spot, and Chapman capitalizes on the mistake as well and goes on through. So just like that, a small mistake from Leclerc costs him the lead, costs him second, and he has to go back to work on these two guys. Kolten Mitchell 17th, not very good championship wise. Oh man, Chapman looks like he is clicked into adrenaline mode here. He is all over Smith, and he is looking feisty. These three at the front are putting on an awfully good show here early in this second 450 main event. How about Chapman? Swings wide, and oh, he's going to get him down the inside, pushes him wide, and Leclerc gets them both down the inside as Chapman swings back and takes the race lead away. And now Smith around the outside will get Leclerc back, and Leclerc nudges Smith as Chapman pulls out a small lead. Woo! Back and forth we go. At Minneapolis, that was a fantastic exchange at the front. And it is not over. These three are still so close together. Looks like Chapman was so set on making a good, clean pass, but he pushed him wide on Smith that he forgot Leclerc was still so close, and it nearly cost them both the positions. But because they were able to nail the normal big line out of that corner, it actually switched back, and they were both able to get back around Leclerc. Great action, and looks like Smith made a mistake in the whoops, so Leclerc able to sneak on through. How about Bryce Whelan in the background, keeping things close as well? In fact, he might actually be running faster laps than these guys. 55.1 to a 57.4, 56.5, and a 55.8 for Chapman, so none of these guys able to put the time in that Whelan has put in, and it's over right there, over the bars as Whelan comes out of the corner. So just when you thought Whelan was about to make a push up onto these guys, he goes up and over the bars, and look at how far out front they were. Whelan almost got up in 5th still, but then Gebhardt gets into the back of him, and now that costs him a lot of positions. Looks like Smith got back around Leclerc temporarily and then went down at the end of the long rhythm section. So the top three getting spread out a little bit here now after all that early race chaos. Chapman now has about a 7-second lead on number 7, Alexis Leclerc. Smith trying to hang tight with him, but these three have definitely broken away. Jesse Mullins comes through in 4th. Mullins has definitely looked a little bit better tonight. Looks like he is kind of regrouped. Getting later in the season, and Mullins is all but out of the championship contention, which he was in at one point. But doing the best he can to keep things interesting for that battle for 3rd, which includes himself, Adam Holm, and Jeremy Seabolt. Seabolt currently in 15th spot, as you can see on the ticker across the top of your screen. Kohenauer here in 5th. Gebhardt is 6th, and here is the aforementioned Adam Holm in 7th. He is holding off Logan Leitzel here in 8th. 9th for Whelan, and actually not 9th anymore as Blakely goes through. Whelan went down. Eaglin will go through as well into 10th. And Whelan... did he forget what lane of the track he was on? He just got on and caught... What? Did he think that that would be faster to do? He went off the track right here, and he just went... Okay, I've never seen that before. It probably cost him a few spots, though. Interestingly enough, here is Kolten Mitchell, who I believe is 11th. Yes, he is. Go on board with Mitchell here for a second, see how he's doing on this track. Not good by the looks of it. Ooh. So Mitchell using that little kind of a wall built up on the side of that single onto the table in order to get on the table, but he actually hit it so fast he almost went over the table. 56.5 for Mitchell this lap. We'll go back up front, take a look at the lap time comparisons here, as someone mentioned that in chat. Take a lap here with Russ Chapman. 54.6 for Chapman, so he looks like he is in a groove, and just did a 55.2 to follow up with another 55.6 that he had put in. Getting bucked through the sand rollers there a little bit. .1 second race lead for Chapman. Leclerc is still in 2nd. Man, oh man, Chapman is absolutely on rails. Swings wide here so he can double in, and then he trees right here, but he goes down. Oh, he barrel rolled out of it. Came up short, nipped the front tire, and then barrel rolled out of it. I'm going to stick with this lap just because I'm sorry to all you folks out there watching, but I would be willing to bet that not only is this lap about to be faster than I can run, but most people can run, and he just barrel rolled on it. So let's see what lap he is able to do by barrel rolling. And he actually gained his lead out. Did a 57.8 with a barrel roll in the middle of a rhythm section. Wow. So Smith back up to 2nd. That means Leclerc must have had a tip over or something. Some sort of mistake somewhere. Because he didn't go down, but he definitely lost a good couple of seconds. Leclerc getting a little off kilter in the whoops, but nothing out of the ordinary for the 7. Ooh, getting kicked into the rhythm section. He seems to be struggling with this first rhythm lane now as the ruts are developing. Smith now able to open up a small gap. Mullins, Kohenauer, Holman, Blakely. This is a good battle right here. This is for 6th, and suddenly it is no longer a good battle. Blakely gets around Holm. And Holm makes a couple more mistakes. Oh my goodness, Walter Gebhardt with the absolute kill of the century. Sends it down the inside of Leitzel, causing them both to go down, which actually in turn allowed... I'm sorry, that was Devin Ryan, who's a lap down to go through. I think Leitzel wants some retaliation here. That was brutal on the part of Walter Gebhardt. Not too sure what led into that situation, but clearly some bad blood between the two. Kohenauer goes down. Seabolt continues his march forward. He is Whoa, Logan Leitzel is lagging. Oh, Mitchell down with Kohenauer in the final corner. And he gets going right in front of Eaglin, so I think he's still 11th. You can tell Gebhardt is trying to get away from Leitzel after that collision. Wants no part of him. Ooh, that rut on the corner exit right there, getting really nasty now. Oh, I didn't notice it, but Leclerc got passed by Mullins, and boy, he must have had 2 fall-off crashes because the gap is very large between the two. So something happened to Leclerc, and actually got to be mindful of more riders coming from behind him, because if he crashes again, which he nearly did right there, he would have 3 more riders to deal with. Got that first section clean, though. Oh, change for the lead. Smith has got it, and something happened to Chapman. We'll go back on board with him. Yeah, 107 flat. That is not the lap times we were seeing out of him earlier, so he must have had a crash somewhere. And take a look at how much this track is breaking down. Chapman absolutely sending it through the whoops. Rider down, that looks to be maybe Bryce Whelan that was hung up. Oh, Chapman pushing so hard. Yeah, nope, not gonna work. Oh my goodness. So he's getting unlapped right there, it looks like, by Mitchell. I think that's just who went through right now. Couldn't quite see the number. Nope, that's Siebold. My bad. Oh, Chapman coming up short on that section as well. Take a look at this rut, though, before the sand and how dug out it's getting as the white flag is now in the air. Look at this. Big bump entering. Big, oh my goodness. And then the sand itself also getting pushed around. Chapman is in full send mode. 3.5 seconds down, now less than that. Oh, and it was Mitchell, my bad. Really thought it was Siebold when I saw the number. Chapman down and rage quits again. And he keeps coming in here and saying, well, it doesn't matter because he's not in the point standings. I don't care. If he was going to win this race, he would not quit. So thus, because he is not winning it, it is called a rage quit. But how about it? Jeremy frickin' Smith, man. Little rougher road to get to this one, but another nice victory in the docket here, and he is 1-1 here tonight in Minneapolis with 1 more race to go. Mullins gonna beat Leclerc. Leclerc gonna beat Gebhardt. Man, Siebold made a good charge forward, and look at that, almost going over the table. Can you imagine going over the table, 3 into the corner? That would be wicked fast. So Siebold ends up 5th. Leitzel down in the final corner will end up in 6th. Holmes 7th. Blakely is 8th. Kohenauer 9th. Eaglin 10th. And Chapman will still get 11th place points, even though he definitely DNF'd this one. All right, cuts are in. And no changes inside of the top 10. Let's see if I can find, oh, looks like Wells, or I'm sorry, 54. The 54, that's Thomas. No, I don't know who that is. But somebody passed Matthias Janis. 54. Reed Young? All right. Well, before the final main events get underway here, because I haven't done much sponsor promo, because You guys are too lovely. I can't pour you as sponsors enough. But I really do have to say a huge shout out to the versuspc.com guys for helping us out with the broadcast this year. This broadcast is so much more easily doable thanks to Versus PC this year, helping me out with the PC build, and they can get you guys hooked up as well. So head to versuspc.com if you need parts, or if you want a whole gaming PC build, they can help you out. Be sure to let them know we sent you, and they'll be sure to hook you guys up. Yeah, so Chapman, his logic is if he gets too many points, he would be top 15 in the 450 class, and thus, because of rules, would not be able to drop down in the 250 class on the West Coast, which he currently leads the point standings. But EMF president and vice president Johan Mayer and Maxime Tisson have both already said, it's cool, dude. The series is already too deep. Doesn't matter if you're 15th in points in the 450 class. That basically just means that you absolutely destroyed everybody when you raced the East Coast anyway, so what does it matter? You're already going to win the West title. You can drop down if you're top 15 in points, so. All right. Final 250 main event lining up here. Who got the whole shot last time? Well, we have to watch Burkeen, right? Because he just has been ripping them starts all night long. And he is going for the victory here, sitting on 3 points. It is time for the final 250 main event here at Minneapolis. And we are underway. Burkeen and Mills. Oh, contact in the background. I saw a couple riders get together, but it is Burkeen with the whole shot. Haley with another good start. But Haley, despite the fact that he got it. Oh, man, I love it. Dually front flips. I'm sorry, I have to take a drink for that. That's awesome. Dually front flips out of Haley and Burkeen. Behind them, Hollenbeck with his best start of the evening. Right in front of Mills, looks like that was Hubbard maybe that got collected with Mills. Lang is right there. Mora up and over the finish line. So things settling down already, but how about our two leaders? Probably just missed more dually front flips. These guys are having a ball out there. It's another day at the practice track, really. Not on the same team, but clearly they are good buds. Ooh, I thought Burkeen was shorting that triple there by the way he was coming in on the landing. All good, though. Again, different lines being used by these guys. Haley going wide and able to triple on. The problem is that you run the risk of going wide there and losing a bunch of time if you don't triple on, because then you have to do the option line, which is slower than what Burkeen is doing by going inside. But the risk versus reward there seems to be paying off for Haley, who is closed right back up to the rear tire of Burkeen. These guys going 12 minutes and a lap, so plenty of time for Haley to sit back here and stalk Burkeen. Not showing many lines just yet. Look at Burkeen nailing the triple out of the corner before the Supercross triple there. It's got that thing working. So Haley again swings wide. This time gets the 3 on clean again. Closes right back up on Burkeen. It seems like Burkeen through the first half or so of the track, pretty much from the whoops until about that rhythm section, he's better than Haley. And then Haley's really good through these couple sections. Closes right up on Burkeen, and then, like I said, we get to the whoops, and it seems like it switches. Although Haley has a good drive right here. Does he look inside? Nope, just tucking right in behind Burkeen. They both swing wide, get to the first corner. Single, double, triple, double. How about Haley getting the 3 in this time? Nope, doesn't do it. Burkeen doesn't do it either. And this battle for the lead is so close. So here we go. This is where Haley's been making up his time. He'll go wide here, triple on off, and gets so much momentum coming down this straightaway. And he is right behind Burkeen here as they're up and over the line once more onto lap 5. Not yet 4 minutes into this thing. They're already starting to get into lappers. Look at how close this battle is out front. Haley shows him a wheel. Now it looks like Burkeen's going to be able to pull out a small gap just because of the drive he got out of that corner. They're both matching each other. Seems like pace-wise, they're both really kind of in the same boat here. Both doing pretty much similar lines until we get to the rhythm section. And this is where it breaks apart. Burkeen goes inside in these two corners. Haley goes outside, and he loses some time going outside the first time, but then gains it all back with the triple on off. My goodness, the pace these two are running. 58.4, 58.3, their 58.2 is both of their best lap times. And now they're about to get in lap traffic. Burkeen, little out of shape. Still hits that rut, so Haley has to check up. Oh, Haley's gonna miss this rhythm here. Let's see if he triples out still. Wow. So this is where Haley might have an opportunity to move. He is still very close, although he's about to probably get blocked by a lapped rider here. Let's see, goes outside, triples on. Gonna get a great drive. Almost pulls alongside Burkeen. But so far, so good for Burkeen. Using those inside lines, protecting. And Haley hasn't been able to do anything about it yet. They are setting an absolutely blistering pace. Another 58.2 for Haley. He is all over Burkeen. Scrubs down the triple. Oh, he's down. Oh, man. That was a great race until then. And he's going to get up comfortably. Well, not quite comfortably enough, but still in second. Here's Lang, Mora, and then a lapped rider of Speck, and then Devin Davis. Good battle between Lang and Mora here. Mora doing the triple line, gets around the outside of Lang, gets that spot. He's right behind Haley now. Oops, sorry. Davis, Fisher, Hollenbeck, and Copeland all in a line here. Then Medina behind them. Richards right behind Medina. So really good close action back here. I'm kind of bummed I've missed some of it, but that race up front was fantastic for a while. Daniel Mills, Ethan Parks, Noah Baker, Brett Powers, Jeremy Hinters, Dylan Gatlin, Daniel Batchlett, Neil Wells, the race leader Matt Burkeen, and Harry White, Owen Hillman. Just kind of giving you an idea where everybody is. Ooh, Mora down after the whoops. So that actually promotes Devin Davis into third, and like I said, Davis having one of his better rides of the season. This really could turn into a podium perhaps for him. But he's looking at 4.63. Not out of the question to be a podium finisher tonight. Excuse me. Let's do a lap through the field. Brought to you by the folks at Race Tech Suspension. There's Burkeen. Your race leader. Here comes Jack Haley in second. Devin Davis in third. And 2 lapped riders, that is Batchlet and Hillman. Edward Mora right there, 26, is in fourth. Tyler Lang on the 71 is in fifth. And Hollenbeck, Richards, Medina, Fisher, Copeland. Those are all riders for position. Caden Speck on the 292 is a lap down. Ethan Parks. Oh my gosh, what was that? Daniel Mills absolutely cutting off the corner there. Probably will get some cuts from that. Noah Baker. And a sizable gap right here. Behind Noah Baker, who is in 12th, I believe. Excuse me. And then your race leader, Burkeen. So he is lapped past Brett Powers, who is... So Noah Baker's 13th. Brett Powers is 14th. And Jack Haley is really starting to claw his way back up to Burkeen. Race for the lead is definitely not over. This event really is over, though. Burkeen is going to pick up the maximum points of 26 by winning the event. Whether or not he finishes first or second is left to be decided, but either of those positions will do no problem for him. And he will be the victorious man of the evening. Oh, Burkeen went down. I'm sorry, I was looking at chat, but Burkeen went down. And so Haley, just like that, goes into the lead. Couldn't quite see it. I'd imagine he cased the triple. So there it is, Burkeen back to second. Not too far ahead of Devin Davis, who is having a really good ride here tonight. Like I said, thinking about his scores and where other riders have finished, it really is possible he finishes on the podium tonight. I think it would probably be between him and Mora. But it's not out of the question either that Devin Davis could still get Burkeen. Haley probably too far gone unless a crash. Burkeen seems to be struggling a little bit. He still has some lappers around him. Davis getting around Powers here. Mora is also fairly close still as well. And poor old Burkeen's getting held up a little bit by his teammate there, Daniel Mills. And Mills, trying to get out of his way, gets into him instead. Probably a good thing Devin Davis made a little bit of a mistake to try to get onto that table, or else he might have landed on the down Daniel Mills. Oh, Haley just went down. I thought I saw it starting to go. It looked like he had put his front wheel a little too high in that corner, and indeed he did. Still keeping an eye on that battle for second. Mora is going down in the whoops right now, and he may just get passed by Richards. Here comes Richards. Mora is just now getting up, and no, he hangs on. How about Hollenbeck? We saw Hollenbeck finish top 10 at the first round of the season, and since then has kind of struggled. Right now, he is amidst a very good group of guys that are battling inside of the top 5 here, and he's right off the tail end of it in 6th. Richards, a small mistake entering the rhythm section. Hollenbeck taking the option line again, though, and not able to capitalize on the Richards mistake. Keep an eye on this battle just for a touch longer before we go back up front. Ooh, Hollenbeck a little short on the triple. Rejoins in the whoops safely, though. Oh, man, Richards is still not out of the question of getting up to Mora there. Meanwhile, up front, 9-1-1 scores as Jack Haley wins main event number 3 here in Minneapolis. But the man of the night, 1-2-2 for a total of 5 overall points. Matt Burkeen is your winner. In the Triple Crown event in Minneapolis, he will pick up the full 26 points. Devin Davis with a very solid third place finish in this main event, and I believe third place finish overall. And it's really going to help now that Mora did go down again. So Richards got by, and Hollenbeck also got by. And I don't think Mora is going to get Hollenbeck before the line here. He will not. So Mora ends up 6th, and I think that locks Davis into 3rd overall tonight. Noah Baker battling with, that's a lapped rider of Batchlet by the look of it. So Medina comes across in 7th, Baker in 8th, Parks, pretty good ride right here. He is going to get 9th. And 10th spot for Copeland, 11th for Lang, 12th for Fisher, 13th for Mills. Harry White in 14th, Gatlin 15th, Hinners in 16th, Batchlet 17th. Brett Powers rounds it off in 18th. Neil Wells is stuck in the finish flag. Boom. Cuts are in, and we do not have any changes. So I think your top 3 in this race is also your podium. It's just the top 2 that are switched. It is Burkeen with the victory tonight. Haley ends up 2nd, and Devin Davis will round out your podium, I believe. Again, it's kind of a changing dynamic race. It's a very hard race to call on the fly unless you have some scripts up on the screen, which I don't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that because the drop-down rule, if you're top 15 in points, I'm pretty sure applies to when the East Coast is about to start. So the first 6 rounds of the season, all these East guys ride the 450 class, expecting to drop down no problem for the East Series. One year, I think we had a guy in 2nd in points drop down for the East Series. 2nd in points in the 450 class, and so that is why the rule was created, that you have to be top. It used to be top 10, now it's top 15. But I'm pretty sure that exists just for that window. Once you're past that, all these West guys come up and race the East class. I'm pretty sure they're good to go because their season has already started. They're already racing West. They know they're racing West. So it doesn't really matter if they do well or not. Hell, Jeremy Smith won the 2013 East Supercross Championship. I'm sorry, West Supercross Championship in the 250 class and finished 7th in the 450 class that year. So, and I know that's a little while ago, but I'm pretty sure that that's how the rule is written. All right, so the final 450 main event of the night, about set to go here. We've had an epic night of racing here, and we're about to have the longest race of the evening set to go. Take a look at Leclerc once more, as he always gets those good starts. But it's time for the final race from Minneapolis, the deciding event. Who's going to get the most points? We are about to find out. Look at Kohenauer from the outside with a huge jump. chops everybody off into the first corner, but Leclerc still will get the whole shot and gets the 3-3 line through the first rhythm section. He is out of here. Jeremy Smith is in second, though, and that is not what Leclerc was hoping to see. Leclerc trying to get max points from this event. Not a very good second race after leading early on. And it's looking like Jeremy Smith's race to lose here tonight with this good start here early in the second one. But how about Jeremy Seebold? Much better start this time around. He's in fourth. He was your fastest qualifier. Devin Ryan right here in fifth, and then Kolten Mitchell second in the championship entering tonight. He needs a huge swing in this one. He needs Leclerc to finish outside of the top 10 and Mitchell to probably win for him to even gain points on Leclerc this evening. So Leclerc leading, Smith right there in second. Both of them able to get the 2-3-3 line. Seebold also giving chase. Will go on board with the 19 machine here early in the runnings. Well, that kind of came undone rather quickly. Well, still gets back on pretty safely and effectively. Yep, now it's over. So we'll be on board with Smith here for a couple of moments. And sometimes, even me, I just have to sit back and watch these guys ride. It's mesmerizing. I was never the speed of these guys, that's for sure. I would say I raced them. I wasn't ever really good enough to beat them, but I did beat them a few times. But the speeds that these guys can go these days is unreal. Knowing what I know about this game, I can't even imagine how much movement is going on. Their thumbs furiously moving. Just back-to-back 55.8s for Smith, 55.4 for Leclerc. So actually he gapped Smith just a little bit that last lap, but their pace is incredible. Seebold still lurking. Mitchell is up to fourth. So Leclerc looks like he is settling in a little bit nicer this time around. But Smith is still just lurking there. That's the difference. It seems like with Leclerc, you put a little pressure on him, make him think about it for a while. He can crack a little bit more often than he does. Because otherwise, he is steadfast, man. He is so hard to beat. But Smith is looking to make it a triple victory here tonight to really solidify this thing. He doesn't need to win this race. If he finishes fourth amongst the guys that he is mixed in with here, he could still win the overall. So he really doesn't need to win this race, but he clearly wants to, and he is going after Leclerc for the race lead. I want to watch some other battles on the track, but these guys are just going so darn fast, and they're so close. Leclerc looks like he got through the whoops a touch cleaner than Smith that time by. How about, I think that's Seebold closing in. Yeah, it is. Oh, and Smith is down. Smith down, pushing a little hard. He pushed the front end through that inside rut on the first corner, and he goes down. So like I said, he doesn't need to win this race. but he sure as heck would have liked to. Now it sets up an interesting dynamic as it seems like Seabolt was catching both of them. Well, you kind of know where Seabolt's stance on Leclerc is. We saw a couple weeks ago, Leclerc T-boned Seabolt in the second corner of the main event. I believe that was back at Tampa. Seabolt came forward and eventually passed Leclerc, who had crashed by himself, to take the victory there. But Seabolt not too much of a fan of Leclerc, I would say. So this may set up an interesting battle between these two if he gets to him, which it looks like he might do. 54-1 to a 54-5. So Leclerc definitely has picked up the pace trying to get away. But Seabolt is on rails and your fastest qualifier. Mitchell right there. Smith gets up in fourth. Behind that, we got Eagland, Carlin, and Leitzel all mixed together, 4, 5, 6. Devin Ryan has Bryce Whelan right behind him, 7 and 8. Chase Blakely, Adam Holm, 9 and 10. Close battle between Dickerson and Russ Chapman, 11, 12, 13 for Gebhardt, 14 for Turley, 15 for Mullins, 16 for Cohenauer, 17 for Janis, 18 for Reed Young, and, oh, I'm sorry, 19. I missed somebody then. Man, Mullins, no idea what happened to him this one. He had a bad start or something. Looks like Eagland and Carlin starting to square up a little bit. They are also right behind Jeremy Smith. So this is actually kind of your battle for fourth. Wow, Eagland swings way wide and gives a spot to Carlin. Really not sure what was going on there. I think he was maybe trying to double into the section. Didn't expect Carlin to be there fast enough, or maybe he slid out just a little bit on the corner exit, caused him to cross-rut a bit. Oh, Carlin, a mistake. So Eagland goes back by, but I do want to switch to this battle up front because I did notice the gap coming down still. 1.5 seconds is the distance between your top two. And Seabolt is a coming 54-6 to a 56-3. Oh boy, Seabolt off the track. Wow, what a way to save that one. Man, Seabolt sometimes is just unquestionably the fastest rider in this game. He does some stuff that is unreal, but then other times it just doesn't seem to work out. So lost a little bit of time messing up a couple sections there at the end. Still didn't lose a ton of time overall, about 9/10 of a second. So just about a second lost on that last lap, but he's right behind Leclerc, who's the next rider in front of him. And then Leclerc trying to work through some lap traffic here. Oh, Leclerc is down. Leclerc loses the front end into the corner after the whoops. And just like that, Seabolt goes on through. Leclerc trying to fight back. Uses the option line through the first rhythm. Like I said regarding Mitchell and Leclerc, Leclerc has already had, I believe he finished 7th in the first main, 4th in the second, whereas Mitchell finished 8th and then 11th. So really Mitchell needs a huge swing. Needs Leclerc outside of the top 10, and that's really just to corral it even close. As it stands, I do believe Jeremy Smith is still going to win this race. Ooh, Devin Ryan goes down. Leitzel goes through, as does Blakely, Holm, and Gebhardt. And Ryan gets going right in front of Bryce Whelan. Russ Chapman ahead of Spencer Turley, so not the best race for him this time around. But Seabolt continues to lead here. Let's do a quick lap through the field before this race gets close. There is Leclerc in second. Reed Young on the 54 is a lap down. Here comes the 6 of Kolten Mitchell. 65 of Dickerson a lap down, 30 of Kohenauer a lap down, 41 of Janis a lap down. There is Jeremy Smith on the Husqvarna number 4. He is in 4th place as well. Race Carlin in 5th. 6th place for Blakely, 7th for Leitzel on the 45, 8th for Holm on the 27, 9th for Gebhardt on the 31, and 10th for Eaglin on the 891. 11th, Devin Ryan on the 34. And then a humongous gap, it seems, to Chapman and Mullins battling it out right in front of Turley. And then is that Siebel with the race lead? Yes, it is. And Leclerc is getting passed by Mitchell. So I'm not too sure what exactly happened there. But Leclerc clearly went down somewhere. And I'd care to wager if maybe he was helped a little bit. Mitchell versus Leclerc. This is your 2 championship contenders, but it's still going to be a big points night for Leclerc even as they run. Now Leclerc looking inside on Mitchell. Block pass. Got him. And they both get squirrely in the whoops, and then Leclerc goes down immediately following, and I think Smith is going to get by. And coming through the whoops, there goes Smith. So yes, indeed, he does go through. Leclerc back to 4th. If anything, that hurts Leclerc a little bit more because it might sway him enough off the podium. I think a 7.44, although behind him is just utter chaos. It's really hasn't been very uniform at all. Mullins would need a much better ride to stay on the podium than he's doing right now. Oh, and then looks like Leclerc got back around Mitchell. So Mitchell must have went down because Smith is back into 2nd. So again, the battle reignites between these two. Coming down to the closing stages of this one. Oh, Smith down on the corner exit. Whelan is right there as a lapper, and Mitchell splits them down the inside of Leclerc and absolutely shoves him into the mechanics area. Leclerc stays on the gas and will get the pass back as Chapman goes down the inside. I don't know if he was going for Leclerc because Mitchell is his teammate. So Chapman a lap down, not sure where he was going right there, but Mitchell making tons of mistakes now. And Smith closing back up. So it looks like Mitchell went for the kill. It did not work. And now he's got to go back to work to get around Leclerc again. All that is doing is putting Siebold at a massive race lead right now. He is nearly 3 whole straightaways. He is 3 whole straightaways in the race lead right now. That gap looks like 21 seconds over Leclerc, and this is not over between Leclerc and Mitchell. Mitchell putting, now it's over. Mitchell down. Oh, Leclerc was down too, and Smith is into him. Here comes Carlin to get around for 2nd, and Mitchell is actually going to get around Leclerc, although he missed a timing gate, so he might get some cuts. Now Leclerc is trying to get back into the battle, and Smith is behind. There's like 4 lappers in the mix right here, and Leclerc looking down the inside of Reed Young to get around him. And oh, he's going down. Leclerc is down, and Reed Young gets around. So there goes Smith on the 4. There goes Holm, Leitzel. Wow, Leclerc, this is going really south really fast. He is back to 7th? 8th, actually, as Adam Holm is in front of him. So I'm not sure what happened. It looks like Leclerc went down by himself at the end of the whoops, then got into Smith, and then a couple of lappers piled in. Meanwhile, Mitchell cut the track to avoid getting into that whole group and went around all of them into 2nd. Leclerc coming into the next section was trying to get around some lappers. I think he got tangled with Reed Young, was the lapper who he collected with a little bit. And now Leclerc having a little bit more issues in the whoops. Reed Young all over the back of him still. And Chase Blakely would be behind him next if Leclerc has another issue. Now it looks like he's fairly clean through the lappers, so he's going to try to set sail on the guys in front of him again. But, man, that went from kind of okay to really bad really fast for Leclerc. And now he will definitely not finish on the podium, but he is in danger of not gaining as many points as he could have on Mitchell, who is up to second. And I really don't think these guys are friendly enough with each other that you could see this drastic of team tactics. But if Siebel wanted to, there is the potential that he just slows down right now and allows Mitchell to win this race. But my, oh my, that would be a humongous gap. And Leclerc is down in the background once again. So Blakely is indeed going to go through. And Eagland is not too far behind if there is another issue for Leclerc. Which, wow, man, he is getting bucked around in the whoops. So he's going to try to go back after Blakely here. He's back to 8th, 9th. Oh, and Blakely's down. Must have got together with Kohenauer. This is not a position for Leclerc here, Kohenauer. Adam Holm on Leitzel looking inside. Got him. And Gebhardt right in front of both of these riders, so he's trying to make that pass. Meanwhile, Siebel, unbeknownst to all the chaos going on behind him, or maybe he's talking to his teammates, I'm not sure. But either way, Jeremy Siebel makes amends for a rough night with a victory in main event number 3. And Mitchell doing pretty much the exact same thing as Siebel, making amends for what has been a disastrous night. He still has to get to the line, and Smith isn't terribly far behind him. But if he does get second, at least he'll salvage somewhere inside of the top 10. I'd wager his scores will probably put him about 7th. We'll have to see how that really plays out, and Smith not out of this just yet. But here is Mitchell coming to the line, and he will get second. Smith going to get third. Gebhardt 4th. Holm 5th. Leitzel is down in 6th, and that is going to allow Leclerc to get back through. So just when Leclerc was going to lose tons of points, finish 8th. These guys crash their way out of this position, and instead Leclerc is almost into the pole there before the line, and Leitzel ends up about a half second behind him in 7th. So Carlin, who was in 5th at one point, has crashed his way back to 9th as Eagland goes through for 8th. Blakely is going to get 10th. Devin Ryan a lap down in 11th. Mullins, Turley, Janis, Young, cuts are in, and Leitzel actually had more cuts than Leclerc, so that didn't change. And Mitchell holds on to second. Siebold is the race winner, but Smith is the overall winner. 1-1-3 on the night. He's going to pick up those 26 points. So I have no idea what the points totals are going to look like. I'm sure it's going to be chaotic. It's going to take a little bit for them to come in, so we're not going to hang around to watch those. But what a night of racing here at Minneapolis. The Triple Crown provides once again so much chaos, so much action. Never really know what's going to happen with these races, and like I said, provided for us again. So I thank you guys so much for watching. Round number 14 of the MotoOption Supercross series here from Minneapolis. Great night of racing. Big shout out, of course, to Versus PC, MotoOption Clothing, Racetech Suspension, FamMX Designs, Squid Squad, MXS EMF, MXS Servers, MXSimulator.com, everybody that helps out put on these streams. Can't thank you guys enough, and I can't thank all of you enough for showing up, giving your support week in and week out, and making these events so much more fun for me to stream. So my name is Kellen Brauer. I appreciate you guys all for tuning in to round number 14 of the MotoOption Supercross series here on SYS TV, and we'll see you guys next week.